Hey, your Choice here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Here I go again. they, they. But anyway, remember I spoke to you about how we're hoping, we're wanting to, we're willing to forgive the lies, forgive the stories, the narratives, forgive kind of like, not all of us, some of us are just thoroughly through. Most of us are thoroughly through. You know, we're just done. We're done with the lies, we're done with the stuff. But the interesting thing happened. You have to, remember, when we were given our holy books that had been altered, not just plagiarized, but then consistently altered so that it could maintain control of the masses. It was given with the beliefs that we would never learn to read. We would never learn to read or write. You see how the Most High works? You see how the Most High works? It was given with the hopes that we would never come to a place where we would learn to study and read and think for ourselves based on what's written. That we would never get to the point where we actually follow the part that says it's written within our hearts. That we'll never get to the part about revelations and understand and be able to decode some of the things that they coded within. So they figured whoever tries to read or write, or if anyone learns how to read or write, we'll just kill them or maim them. Maim them or get rid of them. This way they can't tell the others. But it took a number of years before we finally got it together, over 400 years, 500 years close to. Now we're able to figure things out. So what has happened though is now they want to, remember I tell you about the mind, the power of the mind and just how powerful, the power of the mind and just how powerful it is. And how we create our reality when we really believe something. When we believe something, it impacts our DNA. It prepares us for the next situation and the next life, whatever. It also shapes and forms things. It calls forth things. When we believe something with our whole heart and soul, with our minds and our heart mind, let me put it this way, we call forth, we do what they call create reality. I choose to say call forth reality because it already exists within the mind of the all, which we are, right? So when we believe something, we are creating something. Just like how they give their narrative and we feed on their narrative, and as we feed on and believe their narratives, what happens? We make it real. We perpetuate the lie. We create the story. We make it our narrative, and we fuel it with our energy, with our beliefs, with our emotions. We fuel it. Well, this is back on topic. This is what happens with our holy book. They weren't expecting us to learn how to read. They weren't expecting us to learn how to interpret, to think for ourselves, to tap into that true space, that heart space. They weren't expecting that because they tried to shut all that down. But we got into where we believe the scriptures so much so. Now other people got other ways of thinking. They say, yeah, they use the scripture to bind us, to chain us to their reality, to their narrative, to make us believe things that were not the truth, was make us believe things that they've created in their image and their likeness. That's where we get certain, blonde-haired, blue-eyed folk. So that was created in their image and their likeness. And for as long as we worshiped that, they were good. But let me go back. What has happened is people have studied these different canons and various spiritual doctrine which has been plagiarized from our ancestors, right? So much so that we believe what it's saying, which in Revelations and a few other places is telling you that certain folk will eventually fall. So we're living, many of us believing this so much that where they say Babylon must fall, all the different, I don't want to quote everything because it's a very sensitive topic. But they're wanting to fix that and move us from that belief, because as a collective, if we all believing this thing, that they must go, that they will pay, and that Babylon is falling, and all the raptures and stuff that's going to happen, we're believing this stuff, guess what? So, in other words, the jig is up. Too many of us believe. Too many of us learn to read and believe what's in the scriptures. We believe what's in the scriptures. And that means their time is up. Their time is up. That's what it means. Because we all believe this. So remember, I tell you, when you believe something, it must come to pass. Now, the way it may change is if we all come on one accord and say, oh, I forgive you, it's okay. I'll take the debt. I forgive, because when you forgive a debt, you take on the debt. When you forgive it, you take on the debt. And if it's not you, then it's your offsprings that will pay the debt. So that's why I said forgive yourself, love the overflow will, And for all of those that have done their deed, whatever they are to reap as a result is written in the canons, is written in the holy books, is written in the scriptures. So that's a quick word. I just thought it was interesting. So we learned how to read, and then we managed to read this thing, and they gave it to us, and they told us to believe it, and this is how we should live, and this is what we should do. And now we're believing it, and there's a part in there, and they say, oh, wait a minute. They're going to get rid of us because they believe it, so we got to give them a new church. We need them to focus on other things. We need them to forget that. But it's kind of sort of late because it's already in the ether. The universe is orchestrating everything. We just have to remain in our eternal love self and be who we are, and allow things to do what it's going to do. Because after all, they told us that's what we need to live by. But I don't think they were thinking that we would learn to read the part that says how they're going to live by it soon too. I'm not laughing. Oh, I'm not laughing. None of us can throw stones. Don't throw stones. Live in love. Live in love. Don't throw stones. Don't throw stones. So I'm not laughing. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Subscribe, hit the bell, share with a couple of people. I truly appreciate that. Namaste.